Hello everyone, this is Malika and Audrey, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Unwind. It has been a long while. We are in the second week of January 2024. Is it?
Is it the second week? Yes, it is the second week. Oh God. I mean, literally, we're already on the second week. How time passes so fast.
Honestly, but I'm excited. I'm going to London very soon. Audrey and I will be meeting in one place and not on video calls after God knows how much time. So, yay, very excited. Oh, the hearts. I love that. Oh, it's
I love
real.
how we've been quite out of this.
No, but I am in Dubai, you guys. I have been job hunting and networking, and I told Audrey before we started, I'm like, Audrey, I'm exhausted. It is so exhausting to just say hello and introduce yourself over and over again every single day while looking good. It's tough. It's tough. But that's literally my life in Dubai in the last week, and it will be for another week. Audrey is in Singapore.
When do you touch down in Dubai?
Right after New Year, so like 3rd, 4th January. So it's only been like 5 days.
Right.
But I literally, my entire mind today was going to office buildings with my resume in hand. I had like printed like 30 copies. It's good to be networking with people for company and stuff. So always good to be in Dubai. But you're in Singapore.
Exactly.
You're studying a lot.
Yeah, I've been studying like crazy. So for anyone who's been following us, I have been jobless as well. I have been job hunting, but I've been mostly studying for an exam that's coming up in February. And it's a really, really hard exam, so I've been putting my all into it, and hopefully I can pass it. Fingers crossed.
No, you'll do it. You guys' perception is reality. If you believe in yourself, Audrey, the world will believe in you. So you'll be just fine. And also, we are unemployed. We are not jobless. That's the word we will use going ahead. Interestingly, in the last episode, we talked a lot about resolutions. We talked about what our goals are for this year and how to basically set smart resolutions. And what really intrigued me and Audrey was what we talked about in a resolution in the end 2023. And she just mentioned the idea of 2024, which was that sometimes like we put so much pressure on ourselves in order to like set the most possible realistic but like most happening resolutions for ourselves. And there is so much everyone is trying to do in the beginning of January, because that's basically the year they start working. Like it's very normal for us to like feel that pressure and sometimes like just feel low and not feel good about ourselves. And we just thought we'd just talk a little bit more on that and just talk on the idea of self-love in 2020.
I think yeah, like following our two prior episodes, right? We talked about like the idea of, at the end of the day, one of the things I learned, at least from 2023, was that, regardless, when you're going to grow throughout your entire life, the only person that's going to be with you throughout your entire life is yourself. We talked about that. We've all had days where we faced a rejection or, had relationship issues or friendship issues, parental issues, and broken up, got unemployed, got retrenched. Today's episode will be towards unwinding self-love. Try to figure out who you are more, try to, be more in touch with yourself. But yeah, we'll start with that. And I think the number one definition of like, everybody thinks self-love is this idea of like, going to spas, having manicures and everything.
When we talk about self-love, even before we started this podcast, like this episode, I think both Audrey and I were a little blank and we little like hesitated like to talk more about this, because I just feel like in today's time, like we associate self-love with spas, which I did at one point as well, massively, with pedicures, and I still do. Like a part of me still does that. I got a haircut, and like for me, like that was like new beginnings, blah blah blah. But like that, just like that's self-love, like taking care of your skin, taking facials. But I feel like we hesitate so much because we do not really think of self-love so much in these days, because we just feel like there's no time for that. So I just feel like not a lot of people give enough thought to the subject of self-love, which is why it's more difficult for me and Audrey to even talk about this like more openly, like with an open mind, because it's not the most talked about things, because the most rational thing is spas and haircuts, which is not really true.
I think self-love can be a variety of things, right? It doesn't have to be just treating yourself on days you feel good, right? Like it doesn't mean like taking the day off. It does mean that, but it doesn't just mean that. And I think like sometimes self-love can also come in a way of like waves of distraught emotion. Having that time as well to sit with yourself and sit with that emotions. That was what I had to go through when I went to Spain for a month. You know, like nobody knew that most of the time I was just sitting with all the emotions that I was going through, right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't pretty. You know, it seemed really pretty on Instagram, but it wasn't pretty in real life, not for me at least. So yeah, I think that is also sometimes, you know, what I deem as self-love sometimes as well. You just got to give yourself that space to feel it all, break yourself down, and then build yourself back up again.
When I think of self-love, like I think of reassurance. Like by quick example, right? Like I am moving to Dubai, which is no surprise to anyone anymore. And I'm going to London to say my goodbyes literally in 10 days, and I'm there for like a month and a half, and I'm back here. And everyone knows I love London. I think my heart will always belong to London. I used to cry like at 3 a.m. randomly on like alternate nights. The day I decided like leave London and be like Dubai is my next stop, like I used to just burst out in like tears. My form of self-love was I used to go in my living area and let myself cry. I used to like journal every single thing while tears drop down my cheek. I used to journal and talk about why are you feeling this way? Okay, what will I miss about this? What happens if I do not get this? And after like 5-6 pages of scrambling down on my notepad, like I used to smile because I was like, even if I'm leaving, like you can always come back. And that was my form of self-love, letting myself cry, but also understanding myself better and finding a solution. And the solution I found was, before I leave, I'll do a series which is like a month of my love letter to London. And when I wrote, and then because my brain was thinking about that, Audrey, like I started like thinking of ideas for the series, and then my tears stopped and I started smiling, and then like I took a glass of water and went back to sleep. So that's my form of self-love, including everything else we spoke about.
No, but you know, in times of adversity, I think you need to, like I said previously, you need to break down in order to get back up again. 100%. I think that you need to break down in a way that allows you to build back up. Let's put it in this way. You can only grow out of your comfort zone. You can't grow in comfort. When you're stuck in a place that you're so comfortable in, I think a part of you just stops growing because you're starting to do the same things. You're starting to relive the same experiences. You start meeting and hanging out with the same people. At one point, your worldview and your perspective just stays the same, and that stops your growth. And I think in order to grow, there will be times where you have to face these adversaries to grow into a better mindset, to grow into a better person, physically, mentally, emotionally. You know, and I think like that's where the breaking down comes in. You have to break down to build yourself up again.
No, I agree. And I think another thing that I do, which my friend, like when I tell this to Lily, my friend, like, you should talk more about this. Like, and she started doing this after I told her. I give myself pep talks. A real life example is when I broke up a year and something half ago. I was in Patna and I could not cry in front of my parents, like for a longer time. So when they used to leave and sometimes just remember something, I used to cry, right? Whatever. We used to cry. We're not proud of it, but we did cry. And what I did one time, I think it was like 3 weeks into the breakup, I put my phone, I opened recording, and I decided like literally howling, like crying. And then I just started talking to myself that I do not know. Like I started talking to about my feelings like a therapist was on the phone. And I said, I do not know how I'm feeling like I can't start over, like I'll miss this, blah, blah. It's like just talk. If I come across that video, I'll be like, oh my God, like a year younger self did not really know that I would be this happy today. So sometimes like form of self-love could literally be having faith in your future self that you will be okay.
I think it's all about like, as cringy as it sounds, trusting that process, right?
It is.
I think it is.
It does sound cringy and like overdone, but like it is true. It really is.
Yeah. There was so many times where like I questioned like, oh God, like is this what it is? Like, am I making the wrong decisions? Like, did I make a wrong move? Like, what if I messed up? You know, like there were so many times I questioned every decision that I made, like especially last year. And like I went on so many walks. Like
you really at the beginning love walks. The West not for you. People don't really walk here.
Because walks really calm me down, right? I think we talked about that before. So I went on so many walks. just think. And those walks could have gone for like 3 hours, 4 hours on end. And I would just like, in London, I would just literally walk the entire South Bank and then walk back again.
Oh my God,
and that
I
was
can't.
literally
The
how
idea
I
of
would
that
think.
makes me like tired already in my head. I cannot, honestly, no.
And that's my form of self-love, because walks calm me down. And I think that, you know, whenever I'm overthinking, I think journaling has also been proven to be a
100%.
really, really good.
I do that.
Yeah.
On my notes, on your diary, wherever you are, like it really helps you calm down.
Yeah. I knew there was I still remember, like, I was at my worst last year. Okay, not really my worst, but I think probably second to my worst last year. And I had a friend who was like, I think you need to start journaling. So somebody told me you need to start journaling. And every day before the start of the day, write 10 things that you're grateful about. Just very simple 10 things, right? The first day, I tried to write about how grateful I was.
Yeah.
I couldn't even reach the third point, and I started brawling because I didn't think I had anything to be grateful about.
Really?
And it might seem stupid. Yeah. But it might seem stupid, right? Like, what do you mean you're not grateful? You have a roof over your head, you have food to eat.
Yeah, but
like, you know, all these things.
I get that. But
yeah. But it just,
yeah.
At that moment, you know, I couldn't be grateful.
Yeah.
You know, it's not that I'm not. I just couldn't be. And I just felt so distraught at that moment. So, like, you know, I started doing that as well. I started journaling a bit more because I realized, like, okay, like, this is something I realized I never really thought about. And I think that helps me a little bit about understanding, like, what I have and being grateful about it. That brings a little bit of positivity into my life.
No, I love that. I love that. I think you can literally rewire your brain to think good in any situation possible. And I do that as well. Like, I literally, if I look good, I'll go to my mirror and be like, oh my God, you're so gorgeous. You are just so, so gorgeous. And I do that almost every day.
You need that pep talk before you go out.
But it's more about, like, I just would, like, trust me, Audrey, like, if you say that 5 times, the 6th time, you don't need to say it. Like, you would, in your head, be like, I literally send group, like, my pictures to my family group and be like, I'm just so beautiful. Look at me, like, I'm such a good, like, I have such good style. And they're like, are you okay? I'm like, no, I randomly would do that on any other day, like, probably every week. It's your mind, you know. So I feel like if you just stand in my mirror and be like, I'm really good at this job and I'm gonna get a job in this interview when I do that right now, like, you are gonna be amazing. Like, your brain would think that and you would actually, like, feel good about yourself and confident, you know.
I know. It's all about the mind. I think it all starts with the mind. Yes. Like, if you wanna, you know, like, I think we're trailing a bit from the self-love part, but I think, like, when okay, it is self-love in a way, but, like, if you want to improve yourself, right, like change your worldview, right, if you found, like, that's what I thought, like, I was coming at life in a very negative mindset, like, last year, and I was like, this is not good, because I hate being negative. And then sometimes you find yourself in that, like, constant, like, tornado of just going loop into, like, negativity. You need to, like, when you find yourself in a very negative space, right, I think you just need to focus. Like, for me, what helps is I focus on who I want to be, right? I took a pause, right, in life, literally by quitting my job. I don't know, but like, I was so negative. I was like, I have to have a pause in my life, and that pause helped me put myself back on track again in, like, finding the positivity, finding what I'm grateful for, and then, you know, like, all the other times we talked about, create a roadmap of who I want to be, right? Who I see myself, and then that you know, like, powered me towards that person I want to be, and that's how, you know, I think that's how I better myself, and that's how I hope that maybe someone could hear this and better themselves in this way as well.
Self-love is very different for every individual, and somebody's self-love could be sleeping, and if they're not sleeping enough, could be just, like, taking a pause and just sleeping for 2 nights in a row and sleeping in early. For some people, it could be taking a manicure and, like, going and getting a good facial. Like, for my mom, I think she loves all this stuff, so, like, I think for her, like, maybe it is therapeutic to, like, go shopping, you know. And for some people, I just feel like we sometimes discard, like, we have more control on ourselves than we actually think. So And even we don't really have to go outside to get something done to feel better or shop to feel better. There are multiple things we could do just by having a more better understanding of who we are as a person, to understand what makes us happy and what makes us like calm down and feel good about the situation. But I told Audrey before we started that there's this thing on here which says, that's a horrible idea, what time? I think that's just a very good conclusion to the topic.
She literally says like, look, I have this. I think it made me think of you.
It does.
I think you're really... And I was like, that's not me.
No.
Maybe a little bit. But
a little bit. But it's true. Like, even if you like do something crazy and horrible, or it's a horrible idea, but you still do it, like, just understand yourself better, and then you'll feel better about any situation by just like practicing self-love. So just practice those horrible ideas, crazy things, crazy decisions. It's the one life, you guys.
I feel like we're giving so much bad advice on this episode.
We're not. We're giving realistic advice on this, but like, I think that's a good wrap on self-love. I think we've talked enough on how to feel better.
Yeah, I think in conclusion, like, you want your kind of self-love and how to make yourself better is whatever you want it to be, right? It could be, like you said, like crying in the mirror, picking yourself up, like, and thinking about other things. For me, it could be walks and, you know, taking a pause and journaling. For other people, it could be sleeping for 48 hours straight and then getting your shit together and then moving on with life. Other people with a stronger mentality can do it maybe in 1 minute and be like, pick themselves up, think about it, move on. You know, I think self-love is very different from everybody, and I think it's most important to understand what's good for you, like in your term of self-love. But I think today's episode, we wanted to bring across, like, to say that, you know, self-love doesn't have to mean going to the gym and getting a good body. It doesn't have to mean like being in the best shape. It means that, you know, it's okay to have a rough time, and it's okay to like be messy and chaotic for whatever it takes, as long as you pick yourself up and move on. I think that's what self-love is all about.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Very well put, Audrey.
Yeah.
No, but I think we have to tell them something more important as well, which we discussed recently. This will be one of our last episodes for a while. I think our last few episodes have been a lot about us figuring us out, and also like helping you guys figure you guys out. And we just talked a lot about how to feel lonely, and if you feel lonely, how not to feel lonely, how to be okay with being alone, relationships, careers, resolutions, self-love. And I think we are gonna move into another direction now.
We are planning much more bigger things to come, right? I think the past few episodes that we have done, you know, this is episode 9 now, we never thought that we could even come to the 9th episode. And I think that's still up to date. Like, I think my proudest moment of the both of us making it to even like episode 9 and episode 10, which will be our last episode next week, for now. And we have discussed what, you know, strategies and what direction we want this podcast to go. We are planning more so that we can give you guys better content and not just two girls chit-chatting all the time. We want to give you more value add. We want to help you and help our listeners understand more of themselves and more of the world. So bigger things to come and better things to come as well, I would say.
No, I agree. I think you were talking about this, and we basically had our Notion page with our vision, mission, our goal. And it was very funny because I think our goal was to stay consistent till 2023, because it started out of we are feeling a certain way, and there might be other people feeling like us, and if we can basically be together in this journey, why not we do this? And that's the sole reason we started this. And the idea was to like do it till 2023, but we've had a lot of fun doing it, and we have gotten a lot of people join this Let's Unwind community. And we want to take it forward and make it bigger and better, and just provide a lot more value to you guys as well, and like help you guys make better use of your time, because we really appreciate everyone who watches us till the very, very end and sticks with us. So yeah, thank you so much for that. And we have our last episode coming next Thursday. Subscribe if you have not. A like, comment, tell us how you feel, and tell us what you want in the next bigger thing to come, what all we can do for you as well. And we will see you next time.
Yeah, and this wraps up the second last episode for now. Today we unwinded self-love. It's episode 9, and we'll see you next week for the last episode for a while.
See you next
See
time.
you.
Much love. Bye.